Big Anthony Joshua, yeah? Big AJ, live and direct, got the knockout over Kristian Prenga in the second round. It was a crazy fight. He gets dropped in the first round. He comes back, gets the clean, crisp, nasty knockout over the young heavyweight contender, Kristian Prenga. And everywhere I'm looking online, there's a lot of respect for Anthony Joshua, but there's also a lot of disrespect. People are saying that this fight was rigged. People are saying this fight was rigged. That Kristian Prenga got paid to go down in that second round. That someone whispered in his ear in the corner before that second round happened and told him, listen, mate, you got to start going easy. We'll slide you a couple mil. The Saudis will slide you a couple mil if you just go down or start pulling your punches. And to be honest with you, at first glance, I can see the argument. Just to play devil's advocate, Prenga came out and he looked like a marauder out there. He looked like an absolute marauder. He was throwing punches, big punches. He did grab the neck, to be fair. He grabbed the neck and he threw the uppercut, which is a bit of, I'm not sure if that's quite a foul, but it's a bit of a dirty move. It's a bit of a Daniel Dubois technique. In any case, he went out there and he looked dangerous. He was throwing punches and he was sitting on them. He was sitting on every single punch that he threw. In the second round, it didn't look like he did that. And so from a casual's mind and a casual's viewpoint, I can see why you think, well, why didn't he just carry on doing what he was doing in the first round? That was working for him. He was working the jab. He was hurting AJ. Why didn't he just come out and do that? And I'll tell you the reason why. It's because big Anthony Joshua was throwing a fucking massive 16-ounce glove, was throwing a massive jab in his face anytime he tried to get close. If you look at the fight and if you watch the fight and you're not an idiot, and you can actually see what is happening, and you actually know what boxing is, Kristian Prenga tries to replicate exactly what he did in the first round. In the second round, he walks forward and he tries to throw his jab and his uppercut. And do you know what Anthony Joshua does? He sticks a stiff jab in the face of Kristian Prenga, and you can see the eyes widen in Prenga. And as he goes, holy shit, this guy hits like a fucking truck. And so he starts backing off. And then AJ comes in with the hand speed and the combinations and drops him. It was clear that AJ was not as switched on in that first round as he was in the second. As soon as he landed that jab on Kristian Prenga felt the power. And Kristian Prenga backed off a little bit. And then AJ swarmed him. I am reading comments and I am reading, to be honest with you, retardation in these comment sections. Retardation. I'm looking at the comments, and I'm looking at the comments under some TalkSport Boxing, some mainstream media outlets, and people are saying some crazy stuff. All I know, this is a quote from someone, all I know is Prenga is 100% pulling his punches as soon as the second started. Anyone with eyes has to agree. Anyone with eyes can see that AJ was jabbing him and hitting him with a hard and fast, powerful jab, and Prenga was not having fun with it. And that's why he fucking started backing off a little bit and trying to play the defensive, and then he got clipped. It's pretty clear and it's pretty obvious that this was not a rigged fight. Now, I can understand why people are thinking this. I can really do, because, I really can, because, we see Rico Verhoeven versus Usyk. That was as close to a rigged fight as you can get. Rico was winning that fight, and it was only marked as a draw on the scorecards. And then, of course, you had the 11th round stoppage, which wasn't a stoppage. The bell rang. That was very much a rigged fight, and you can clearly see the financial interest in Usyk is higher than that of Rico Verhoeven, and so they stopped the fight. Is there an element of they're going to afford AJ more time? They're going to give him favorable treatment if he gets dropped. The 10 count's going to be a bit longer. The stoppage is not going to come until he's really out. There's not going to be an early stoppage. Yes, there is an element of that, because they know that AJ is the bigger name than Kristian Prenga. No one knows who the fuck that is. But there's not enough money in the world that you can pay Kristian Prenga. All right, maybe there is, but there's not enough money in the world you can pay Kristian Prenga to just go down like he did. That was a legit dropping that he got, and a legit beating. And if he had beaten Anthony Joshua, he would have made more money than they probably could have paid him from big fights. He would have been a big name if he had beaten Anthony Joshua. So I truly don't believe he took a knee. He took a fucking knee after that. I think he got hit by a jab. And he realized the power of Anthony Joshua was on another level. And he tried to back up and he tried to be defensive, and it didn't work out for him. I hate when people come out and say this about boxing, because bad stoppages and bad decisions happen all the time. But when you look at a fight like this, in my eyes, it's pretty obvious that AJ was hitting him and he went back on the defensive. If this was a rigged fight, they would have rigged it from the start. And I think he would have got beaten up on. I don't think he was going to drop him immediately if this was a rigged fight, because that's too iffy of a rigging to do. If it was a rigged fight and they really wanted to see the AJ Fury fight, they would have told Prenga from the start, just get the shit beaten out of you and we'll give you 10 mil. They wouldn't have had him drop AJ and almost knock him out in the first round if this was a rigged fight. That's just my opinion. Maybe I'm being naive here. Boxing certainly had their moments of corruption. They certainly have had their moments of corruption, but I think this was a legit Anthony Joshua win. And I think people who are jumping on this rigging fight bandwagon are silly and just want to use it as an excuse to take away from Anthony Joshua coming back. We see this all the time in boxing. We see this all the time in combat sports. Guys empty the gas tank trying to get the finish, and they get comfortable, and then all of a sudden they get hit with a punch or a kick or whatever it might be. If we're talking MMA, if we're talking boxing, a punch. All of a sudden they get hit by a punch, and then they don't know what's left or what's right, and they realize that they've gassed themselves out trying to go for the finish, and this guy in front of them is not dead and can still punch, can still crack. That's exactly what happened in that fight. Anthony Joshua came back in the second round rejuvenated, and Prenga got hit and he got stung and he got caught. It was a legit fight. It was as legit a fight as it can get. Anthony Joshua has shown some cracks, namely in his chin, but he is still extremely good. He is still extremely dangerous. I don't think AJ is the type of guy to want a rigged fight on his legacy. And you could argue that maybe the Saudis did the business away from him and he doesn't know about it. But I truly just don't believe that Prenga would do that. And if they were going to rig it, I don't think they would have rigged it the way they did. It was too dangerous. It was too risky of a rigging of the fight for it to go down like that. So this was a legit fight. And people who are saying it's not are silly. They're silly and they're stupid, because you go back and you watch the fight, you can clearly see Kristian Prenga gets tired after that first round. He goes in and he tries to do the same thing again. He gets hit by a jab and he backs off and his defense is not that good and AJ cracks him. That's all she wrote. It was not a rigged fight. It was a legit fight, and I'm looking forward to AJ versus Fury, because this is going to be an absolute banger. If you want to see my breakdown of that fight, check this video right there, and thanks for watching. I really do appreciate it. Make sure you like and subscribe, and let me know your thoughts about this fight in the comments below. I'll see you boys later. It was not a rigged fight. It was not a rigged fight. Come on. Bosh.